in first game as a coordinator, but Doug's going to be calling the plays. So let's say you're in the middle of a drive and you really don't like the play call. How does that going to work with you and Doug, or is this can you only maybe make your case when there's a timeout? How does that dynamic work?
That's the benefit of having spent 5 years with Doug, of knowing what he expects on the headset, what the communication like is, and through the 4 preseason games as well, of everybody kind of understanding what that is. And, I think I have a good feel for what kind of communication he expects and he likes, and then kind of when he's in his flow and you kind of give him time to make the play call, there's not a lot of extra chatter on the headsets for him. And usually we're in lockstep with most things. We've gone through scenarios, whether it's throughout this week as we build each section of the game plan, to even Sunday morning, we'll get a chance to sit and meet before the game in the locker room, in the air conditioner, kind of talk through, all right, if you get this, what are we thinking, where are we at? Both of us just bouncing ideas around, and so we're all kind of on the same page. So then once he's going, he's got it going.
So do you anticipate over the course of, maybe a 70, 65, 70, 75, whatever it ends up being, that there's probably going to be a play where maybe you see something and you point it out quickly to Doug, hey, I think we better go with this here, not that. Do you feel comfortable enough doing that?
100%. And that came up in the preseason. There's a number of times, there's a couple coaches, if you see something that you believe in or you're onto something, Doug encourages all those ideas. So as long as the communication flows the right way and we hit a situation, you suggest the play, he can find it right then, it gets called, and we're usually all pretty much on the same page because, again, we've spent so much time. That's what we do all day right now. That's why we spend the hours to make sure we all see it the exact same way, and really that eventually it's communicated to Trevor so he sees it and he's not caught off guard when a call comes through.
Okay, so you do have somewhat veto power, a little bit.
Doug has the ultimate veto power. I can suggest, but Doug has the power of veto, absolutely, yes.
Preston was a good example of that everybody saw the video from the Super Bowl before the Philly special, where
right.
Nick goes up to him on the sideline,
right,
and said, and Doug says, "You want the Philly special? Okay, we'll call the Philly special." So,
right.
So is he open-minded like that?
He absolutely is. And again, you got to have a reason for it. And I think everybody kind of knows with Doug, like, if you're suggesting something, we're far enough along into this thing together that if you're suggesting something, you have conviction in it, you believe in it. Now, Doug has the ultimate power of veto. If he's got something else on his mind and he wants to call this, he's going to call that. Nobody takes it personal. We all understand where we are. We've all, again, gone through all these conversations here in the air conditioner to where nobody's caught off guard by what happens on Sunday.
This offense is known to be pretty tight end friendly. How important is Evan Ingram for what you guys want to do this year?
Yeah, obviously we've had good tight ends in the past, and that's kind of, you can say it's tight end friendly, quarterback friendly, whatever it is. It should be like that. We should make the game easy for these guys, and we had strong tight end play in our time in Philly, and so those guys were obviously going to be a feature of things. You have good players, you want to feature them. We feel like we have a number of great players here in a lot of different positions. So we hope it's built to where the ball just goes to where the ball's supposed to go based on the way the defense plays, and we're always taking what's given right there. If there tends to, throughout the course of a game, be a matchup that's a strength for us, then we would do everything we could to exploit it, and I think that's the right thing to do.
And does it present an extra challenge when you get J-Rob back, but he wasn't able to participate in a ton of stuff throughout training camp, but now he's ready to go and you kind of trying to work him in and get some of those plays in practice and make sure that everybody's on the same page? Does that present a little bit of an extra challenge?
I mean, it certainly can. You obviously want everybody to get everything full speed and to know without a shadow of doubt they've got this, they've got the reps, they've got the time on task. That's the thing. He wasn't cleared for full speed live periods until later in training camp, but he was involved in every single walkthrough. He sat in every meeting. He was here every day in the spring. He's heard everything. He's been able to walk through everything, and then we've been able to get him in live reps, whether it's a walkthrough or whether it's the practice reps here through the week, to where we feel confident in every aspect of the game plan that he's ready to go.
Chris, do you guys have an idea of who you are, or is it right now still who you want to be?
I think that's kind of always the give and take of a season. We have an idea of who we want to be, whether it's going into the season or going into just each game, of how we feel like we need to attack this defense to give ourselves the best chance. But that's kind of the give and take of the season of a game where, all right, second quarter, this is who they are. This is what we need to pivot to give ourselves the best chance. So you always want to have an identity and something you hang your hat on, and we're always going to have those things that we believe in. But we're not going to have our head in the sand and say we can't adjust because this is what we do. We want to be able to adjust and be fluid enough to be able to do anything we need to do to win the game.
You want to drop the Bruce Lee quote? Zay Jones said you're a big Bruce Lee guy, and use the quote to describe the offense.
Yeah,
in the meetings?
we talked about that, of just the Bruce Lee thing of be water, be flexible. Water is fluid. It can't be contained into one thing, but it can become whatever it needs to be, and it's ultimately one of the most powerful forces on earth. So we've talked about that as an offense of we need to be able to do what we need to do to win the game. If that means, hey, we're going to have to throw the ball 60 times to win this game, we want to be able to do that. If it's we're going to run the ball, if it's we think we're going to throw the ball and we go in, we have to run the ball. We want just the flexibility as an offense to be able to do whatever it takes to win the game.
What is your definition, you and Doug's definition on the run pass explosive? Is it 10 run, 25 pass? What is
We're
it?
kind of and this is kind of an analytics thing, and everybody can be a little bit different, but really we've gone off 16 yards for a pass and 12 for a run. I think that's where it's somebody smarter than me, the EPA and all that kind of changes when you hit those numbers. So that's just kind of what we go off right there.
Back to James Robinson. Doug mentioned yesterday he thinks he's back, he's 100%. Is that what you're seeing in practice just these last couple of weeks?
Yeah, certainly that's what we've seen. Now we haven't seen him in a game since late December, so you really don't know until you get in the bullets. But we're confident in what we have seen and what he's communicated to us that he'll be ready to go as much as we need him to.
And him and Travis, their skill sets, just how they complement each other. How much flexibility does that really give you guys on offense?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're a little bit different. James is probably a little bit more of a power back, where Travis is kind of that slasher type, but they're both good enough to do whatever we need to do. There's not going to be a run that we have in our plan that both of them cannot accomplish in some way, shape, or form. Now, we're probably going to feature Travis on things that we feel like he does best and James on things he does best, and that's just kind of the way things go. But we feel like everybody in our offense has the flexibility to do whatever role they need to do and get the game plan accomplished.
How many offensive commandments do you have?
We have 3.
What are they? Protect the ball.
Protect the ball. We want to create explosives and eliminate negatives, and then we want to be a great situational offense. So those are kind of the 3 that we preach. Those are the 3 that we always come back to. That's what we believe is going to, when you look back on a game and you just kind of throw that umbrella of those 3 commandments, that's going to reveal how you played. Now, it may not always show up in wins, losses, and all that, but those are the 3 things we believe are the most important thing and dictate the outcome of games a lot of times.
Hierarchy on the 3?
Protect the ball, create explosives, avoid negatives, be the best situational offense. Those are our 3. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
At different points over the last week or so, people have referenced the team being loose or relaxed, and Doug even mentioned it yesterday about how he controls that. He controls how the players feel and how they react. Do you get the same sense that they're pretty relaxed going into this first game?
Yeah, we haven't been together as a group going into a game, so maybe they're uptight, and I don't know what loose looks like for them yet, but we'll figure that out. But I think the guys are confident in the plan we've put forth so far, what they can do, the way that they feel like we're about to try to attack a defense. And again, we don't know what everybody feels like on game day. We'll kind of get into that mode together. Obviously, you can never replicate the regular season and the preseason, so it's a new experience for all of us, and I'm confident that everybody's confident in what they're about to do.
From what you've seen, Trevor's development this week, particularly when the game plan's finally being talked about and everything like that, what have you seen as far as his confidence level heading into this week?
Yeah, I think Trevor's confident in the plan we've put together, that we're putting him in a great position, as well as our other players on the offensive unit to put in their best foot forward. And so I think you kind of see that confidence. But again, he's been open with his communication of, hey, I need a few more reps at this. I haven't got a lot of chances to throw that or see that versus this look. And so we've just kind of, we put it in a walkthrough, we put it in a live period, maybe we get it off to the side. But it's kind of that communication through everybody, not just Trevor, but the skill players of, I want to run this route another way. Do you see it this way? Maybe we watch some video clips together. But it's all just, it's a fluid process of all doing everything we can to get on the same page.
You guys have talked about mastering the offense for Trevor particularly. Right. Is that something that happens throughout the season as it goes on, or is that something that can happen week 1?
That's something that I think is a never-ending process of, as a young quarterback just growing, but anybody really, you're always trying to grow. And the game always kind of ends up coming down to unscouted looks. If it was everything we practiced against and we score 100 points, great, but it very rarely is that. And a lot of times it's, I think I'm going to throw it to that guy, but it doesn't work out. Now what does the quarterback do with the football? And we want him to feel confident that he knows, if they take this away, I do this. If they take that away, I do this. And so we think we're great schemers, and we've got this all worked out. We know exactly what they're going to do and where the ball's going to go and when it's going to hit and all that. But That's not the game. The game is, 11 guys on 11 guys, and anything can happen at any moment. And does everybody kind of sink back to the training that we've allowed them to, or do they do something that they've never done before? And that's kind of where you that's what you do practice for. That's why you meet, to make sure everybody's confident and we know all the answers regardless of what the defense presents to us.
Obviously, Doug being here and you getting a promotion out of it is probably a huge factor in you taking the job. How much of a factor was having Trevor here?
Yeah, it was a huge factor, obviously. I mean, you want to look at a situation, you feel like, you look around the league and you look at the strong teams and the teams that are in it every single year, strong quarterback play, regardless of who they are. And so we felt like, looking at it from the outside in, I felt like this was a situation for strong quarterback play. And that gives your franchise, your team, a possibility of being in it, in January, February and all that. And so that was definitely a factor in being eager to take the job.
Now, when you saw that the schedule came out, and I mean, you knew you were going to be playing Washington. You just didn't know, but that it was week 1. And it happens to be the quarterback that you were helping to tutor last year. I mean, how much is that for you? Is that even a thought in the back of your mind when you go in, or is it just another game?
I mean, I can't say it's not a thought. It's a guy I've spent the last 6 years of my career with, but at the same time, he and I have no direct impact on each other throughout this game in any way, shape, or form. So it'll be maybe a little different seeing Carson Wentz and rooting against him, but at the same time, it does not impact our offense in the way we attack their defense or the way we see their defense in any way, shape, or form.
But did the defensive staff here pick your brain on what he likes and doesn't like to do?
I mean, we had just conversations in passing more so than anything. I think my knowledge of Carson really comes from us in one system together. I really have no knowledge of Coach Turner's system or anything like that. So it's a whole different dynamic. I could tell him if Doug or Frank Reich were calling the plays, here's what Carson likes. But that's not the situation we're in. So I really don't think I have any impact in terms of knowing what he liked in a certain system versus anything else.
We'll go last one with Justin, right?
Just over the last several months, if you think back, what has stood out about this team and this offense from your early days to going into week 1?
Yeah, I think just the confidence of everybody kind of trusting the work they've put into this thing and being able to lay out a plan for here's what we like in these situations. And everybody kind of grows into that. I think we do have intelligent players that, they can kind of bring plays to life because they understand why we want to call this play, because what we expect from the defense first. Or maybe there's just a ton of variety from the defense, and this is a play we believe we execute at a high level, and so we want to get to. So I think it's just kind of been fun to see everybody grow in kind of their intellectual part of understanding the offense. That's been the cool part.
Thanks,
Yep.
Jeff.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ron. We'll see you guys next week.
Does Devin remind you of any linebacker you played with, against, or if he reminds you of you can say that too?
I really wish he did. No, but really, he's unique in his own range. He's so long. That's the thing you really don't understand. He's so long. Now you go back, he really puts me in the mind of like KJ Wright back in the day. Played in Seattle, played a long time, but the length enabled him to do things that normal guys can't do.
And then, since the game with the Falcons, I know you've gone over the film many times, but is he ready to take? Honestly, I guess you wouldn't be starting him, you wouldn't, but do you think he's really ready to take that next step, starting for an NFL team as a rookie?
The thing about it, when he made it through the game and made it through practice, and you saw him in the game, and no hesitation about the leg. And then this week he continues to progress. We're just ready to throw him out there and see him go to work.
Tremon's first game, full game, is coming up. Just what have you talked to him about? Yesterday he mentioned how he doesn't really look at himself as a number 1 pick. He's just one of the guys. What has your conversation been with him?
The same thing. I tell him the same thing all the time. Just be yourself. Be yourself. Don't try to live up to anybody's expectations. Go out there and play the game you've played your whole life and play it the way you've played it your whole life, and you'll be fine.
Doug talked about this a week ago, I guess. You guys keep 5 defensive linemen. Only a couple of them are those big guys, the 300-pound guys. What has changed in your view of the NFL to enable you guys to have those type of defensive linemen, whereas in the past it was a little bit bigger?
I think there's more 11 in the league now. You don't find big fullbacks anymore. There's a few teams that run two backs, but most of the time it's 11 or 12 with two tight ends. So it's kind of changed a little bit, but you still need girth up front, and we have that. But then you can sprinkle in pieces of strong and quickness to be able to get the job done.
Kind of speaking toward that, you guys have Arden Key, DeJuan Smoot, sort of unique players to play inside. What do they bring to the table as far as what you guys can do differently, and just what have you seen from them in general?
It's just a different look. When you put those guys inside, you talk about the strength and the quickness, it really shows up. They might not have the 315-pound body, but they play that way with their hands, and they're strong. But the quickness really takes over inside. So we're pleased with what they're doing, and we're happy to have them.
Is it unique, though, to have Key, 240-something pounds, to be able to do that? Is that something you've seen in the past, or is that something kind of unique to him almost?
It's really unique to him, because, you'll normally get a linebacker that can walk up on the line and possibly rush, but he's able to go inside, and he really has a high win level inside, and you like that about him. He's inside, he's violent, and he uses his quickness, and he's smart. He knows how to play the game. He knows how to use his slender body to get through cracks.
The better defenses in the league usually are able to get to the quarterback without having to send extra guys. How confident are you with this particular defense that you can get to the quarterback on a fairly consistent basis, just rushing forward?
That's the plan. With the guys we have certain guys that are responsible for getting after the quarterback and getting to the quarterback, and they understand that, and we're just going to sit back and watch them do it.
When you look at this Commanders running game, what can make them dangerous?
Really, the backfield, the backs they have, even though they're missing one, and hopefully he's recovering well, but they're missing one. But 24, he's played a lot in the league. He's been successful. Then they have a different variety of backs. They have power backs, they have scat backs, and they have versatility back there. And then put it along their offensive line, a veteran group with the receiving core. They're a formidable running attack.
Stopping the running game has been a problem for the defense here in Jacksonville for a while. It sounds like your guys are focused on stopping the run first on Sunday.
That's the thing we hang our hat on. It's not just Sunday, it's every Sunday. So we're going to go out there, and that's what we preach to the guys, and that's what they believe in. So we're going to go out there to stop the run first and then let them play after that. That's their main focus. Go out there, let's handle the run, and then after that we can try to pressure the quarterback.
Do you feel like Foley Fatukasi is progressing well enough to be available on Sunday?
Right now, he practiced a little bit yesterday, so we'll just wait and see. He's a guy that you would love to have out there, and he's working day and night to get back out there, and we'll let the trainers make that decision.
When you have a linebacker like Foyer in the middle, how does that make your job a little bit easier? Is he what you expected to get when he was signed here in Jacksonville?
He's really more, because you watch him on film and you see him. You always see other middle linebackers controlling that defense. And when you bring him here and have the expectations we have, you're going to be the guy out there that you're controlling everybody. You're getting everybody lined up. And he takes it and he runs with it. It's almost like I can think something and tell him, and then he'll go out there and execute it. So it's really easy for me to be able to put that much pressure on a guy, and he stands up to it, and he's been doing a great job.
Throughout training camp and the preseason, a lot of the defensive guys have echoed the same thing. They want to be dominant. Now, it's one thing to say it. How will that look on the field? What, in your own words, what is dominance from your defense?
Really, when we have one more point than the other team, that's dominant. And that's the key. Like, we talk about being dominant, the first thing we got to do, we got to win. And that's our mindset. We want to go out there, we're trying to win the game. And after that, everything else takes care of itself.
When you look back over the last several months, what's something that stands out about this team from your early days with the team to going into week one?
Well, early days, we talked about, when I first got here, I think I talked about how hard they played on film. And that's carried over, and I think they've increased it. We talk about building your identity, and I think they've done that. You get here, you don't have any expectations, you go out there, and we're going to form our team. And I have some things I expect different position groups to do, and they're doing it. So that's their identity, and we're going to continue to build that.
It sounded like your guys came up with a few turnovers during practice yesterday. Do you think you have the pieces to come up with some of those turnovers come game day?
That's the thing, Coach Sutton, we talk all the time about creating turnovers, and we focus on it, we talk about it, and they come in bunches. And yesterday we had a good day at practice, and guys were locked in, and today we get another chance to go back out there and continue to hone our craft and get ready to go for Sunday.
You know, those really good defenses tend to have like their own personality as a group. How long does it take to kind of form that as a unit? Do you see this group having that kind of, the early stages of that?
I really see it, but I'm going to let them do that. They're going to go out there and they're going to take ownership of this defense. You know, I told you I have my expectations and the identity I want to see, but it's their team. They're going to be the ones that take us where we need to go, so they're going to form their own identity.
I know you have your expectations, but you got a lot of guys on that defense that, talk about having a chip on their shoulder, something to prove. So, their expectations probably a little bit higher than even yours are.
Well, I don't know if they're going to be higher than mine, but they're going to be high. But when you play this game for one reason, and that's to be the best player you can be, then have the best unit you can have, then have the best defense you can have. And everybody's focused on doing that, so we're just out there working hard and trying to get it done.
I know last week you said the pregame jitters are done. They were gone with the Hall of Fame game for calling the game. But what are you feeling going into this first regular season game as a coach and just as a person, honestly?
Really, everything is day one for me. Like yesterday was my first Wednesday practice of the season. Today is going to be Thursday practice. Everything's day one for me, my first time going through it. There's not jitters, but it's excitement. I wake up in the morning like, let's go get it. So that's what we're here to do, go get it.
How big of a challenge is it going to be to cover Terry McLaurin just in terms of what he brings to the table as a complete receiver?
Well, I call him a five-star. I know that might be a college term, but he's a five-star. You got guys that are go-to guys, and he's a go-to guy. And he has a speed, has routes, has a hand. So he's going to be a challenge for us. So we're going to go out there and, just like we're going to do every week, go out there and compete against him and see what shakes out.
What did you see from your guys, just Shaq and Tyson on the outside, that gives you the confidence that they can go and handle that business?
I've seen the work they've been putting in here, the techniques they've been learning, and just the confidence they have. They're going to go out there, and again, they're going to line up, we're going to line up, and we're going to have a great game on Sunday. Let's see how it shakes out.
You want a guy to shadow him?
Really don't have to, right? Right now we're thinking, let's stay left and right, but if we need to do something like that, we can do it, but we have confidence in our three starting corners that we can go out there and do what we need to do.
That third guy, Darius, missed a lot of time with the shoulder throughout camp. How confident are you with him going into week one?
It was a timing thing. I think he's been strong throughout, and he's getting stronger every day. But the way he is in the classroom, you understand that he'll ask a question that no one else has thought about yet. And it's good because he missed the time, but he was locked in mentally. So that's going to translate onto the field. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. If you want to ring it?
Behind.
Yeah, we got a bunch of good guys. Shaq has done a really good job. He'll play all four phases for us. Some of the new guys could contribute to that. Dewey's done a really good job. He's a core guy for us, personal protector. He kind of leads the group. We've got a bunch of guys contributing on all phases. Dan Arnold's another one that's done a fantastic job for us from the tight end position. But we have a bunch of guys contributing. We talked about Tim last week. He'll be out there. Got a good group. Happy with our group, plus the additions we added to kind of bring us along. And, I'm excited to kind of see what they do, in the next couple days.
But only 3 actually doing all 4?
No, there's going to be some more guys, but right now we're still trying to figure out who's our best guys on the field. Is it best 11? Are we going to use some of the new guys? Are we going to kind of we've had good players here throughout training camp, so we'll just kind of keep going with those guys and see what happens.
With the roster turnover, how difficult has that been to sort of pick and choose who's going to play what phase, just all the new guys coming in?
We took a good look at them on tape. That's the start, is kind of put them in the right positions from what we saw on tape, and then getting into to meet them,
talk through what they're comfortable doing, how they feel playing, and then also how does that fit in our scheme, and then what does it look like? So we started competing early when we first got him. Hey, is he playing better than the guy we had out there before? That kind of thing. So that's something still in evaluation. It's Thursday, still got 2 more practices to kind of figure out who's going to be active on game day. And so that's something we're still looking at.
Have you liked Caleb Johnson in some of those competitions? I know he played special teams a lot for the Bears.
Yeah, he's done a great job. I'm very pleased. He did a great job for the Bears, and that's one of the reasons why we got him here. But he's done, he's done fantastic. He's catching on. He comes to my office all the time to get caught up just kind of on the scheme. He knows how to play the game. That's obvious. It's more just can he learn our communication, our terminology. That's the adjustment for him is what the Bears were calling it or whatever team they came from. It's different here, and that's to be understood. But they're willing to learn. They're here. They're working at it, trying to get on the same page because so much of special teams in general punt, more specifically, it's communication. It's talking to the guy next to you. How does he see that? What is the communication so we execute? Because it's such a big deal protecting on that punt. So getting it where those guys understand what they're doing and how you're going to play that each individual rep, we got to get them all on the same page.
How much confidence can you have in Riley going into week 1?
I got a ton of confidence. He's done a good job since he's been here. He started out the first 2 practices. He was 10 of 11. He did a really, really good job with exactly what we thought he'd do. Yesterday wasn't as good, but that's what practice is for. So much of getting him caught up to speed of the timing aspect with our snapper, with Logan's holds. What does that look like? When does he leave? I say when does he leave? I mean, when does he approach the ball? And you're talking, 1.32 seconds to get there and to get the kickoff. So we're just working through that timing of it. So nothing but confidence in him. I think he's going to do a fantastic job. We're kicking again today, so that'll be good to get one more look at it before Sunday.
How much of an unsung hero can the long snapper be? Nobody typically knows his name until something bad goes wrong. But how important is he to what you do?
It's huge. The quiet snapper. You don't hear a word, don't know his name. That's the best. The good thing about our guy Ross. His snaps to the average person isn't a big deal, but the way his ability to snap with velocity, keep the laces away where Logan rarely has to turn them, that's huge. So that kicker gets to look at that ball without seeing the laces, no spins. It's just nicely in a good position. His ability to block, his protection, his ability to move his feet, get in front, his strength, pad level is fantastic. And then he was our leading tackler in the preseason on special teams. So his ability to go down the field, a former linebacker, to go down and be a factor, it's something other teams have to be aware of and potentially have to account for him.
How excited are you to see Jamal Agnew just take that first return after, in the preseason, he was obviously holding back some?
Yeah, we held him back, and that was by design. That was one of the reasons why I took this job. Ags is a fantastic returner. He can make something out of nothing. He's a spectacular returner. 7 returns in his career. He's just super talented. And to get to coach a guy like that is a great thing because we can draw it up as much as we want. But when you have a return that can make something out of nothing, it's a big advantage for us. And we're hoping we get to returnable footballs. I'm sure they're going to try and kick touchbacks. We're going to get that every week. But if we get a chance, we're going to have some good opportunities, and we're looking forward to seeing what he can do.
2 guys back or just 1?
Are you talking about returner-wise?
Kickoff.
Yeah, we'll just have Ags back there. We want one guy touching it. We do have some other returners that can do it, but Ags is the guy. We want him touching the ball every time.
Riley doing kickoffs?
Yes, sir.
You feel good about his leg
Yes,
strength?
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's something that was part of the evaluation. In training camp was just kind of take a look. Can he do it? How does he do it? Does he have the leg strength? And he does, and that's the good thing about it. We practiced it last week. We're going to get more looks of it today to get him more accustomed to our system and our way we do it. But yes, nothing but, positive, thinking on the way he can kick off and the way he kicks field goals.
On punts, does Agnew always have the green light to go if he feels like he sees something?
Ags has the green lights anytime. He can do whatever he wants. Yeah, just let those good players play. That's my philosophy. He's a good player, makes great decisions back there. We've had those conversations. At what point Does he put it down? What point does he fair catch? And he has a good feel of anybody as far as understanding those hang times. Is this a ball I got to fair catch? Is this a ball I got to put down on a kickoff? Those are those things that make him special. Just having a good understanding of the situation and situational football.
Anything else? Appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Get you guys back in the preseason.